Detailed plot summary of The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, an in-depth analysis. Title: The Housemaid. Author: Freida McFadden. Genre: psychological thriller, suspense. Introduction: Freida McFadden's The Housemaid is not just another psychological thriller. It's a captivating dive into the distorted reality of abusive relationships, a masterfully told story that constantly challenges the reader's perception. The book is a brilliant example of how a shift in perspective can completely overturn a plot, revealing hidden motives and the true nature of characters. It explores themes of control, manipulation, survival, and unexpected female solidarity that emerges in the most difficult circumstances. Every chapter, every phrase, is part of a complex puzzle leading to a shocking finale. Part 1. The World Through Millie's Eyes, The Illusion of a New Beginning. The novel begins by introducing Millie Calloway, a young woman at a crossroads in her life. Her past is shrouded in mystery. We only know that she has just been released from prison and is now living in her car on the brink of despair. This initial ambiguity about her past immediately creates an atmosphere of intrigue. Is she a victim of circumstances, or could her past influence her future? Her job search leads her to an advertisement for a live-in housemaid position at the luxurious estate of the wealthy and, at first glance, impeccable Winchester family, promising stability and a chance for a fresh start. This offer seems like a gift from heaven to Millie, and she clings to it like a lifeline. Meeting the Winchester family is key to shaping the reader's initial perception. Nina Winchester, the lady of the house, appears as a mysterious and unpredictable woman. Her behavior fluctuates from excessive friendliness to cold cruelty, from benevolence to aggression. She constantly accuses Millie of minor offenses, deliberately creates messes for Millie to clean, and seems to enjoy humiliating her. These actions make Millie and the reader question Nina's mental state. Andrew Winchester, Nina's husband, is her complete opposite. He radiates charm, calmness, and understanding. Andrew seems patient, supportive of Millie, listens to her complaints about Nina, and appears to be a victim of his wife's difficult behavior. This contrasting behavior makes Millie, and with her the reader, feel sympathy for Andrew and view him as a potential savior. Cecilia, their 9-year-old daughter, is often quiet and frightened, which deepens Millie's suspicions about Nina. Sometimes Cecilia also exhibits a strange cruelty, adding to the mystery of the family dynamic. Millie moves into a tiny attic room. This room immediately causes a sense of unease. The door can only be locked from the outside, and there are numerous deep scratches on the inside, as if someone desperately tried to get out. Millie tries to rationalize these details, but they remain a disturbing backdrop to her new life. Millie's daily life in the house turns into a test. She witnesses stormy arguments between Nina and Andrew, hears mysterious phrases, and sees traces of blood. Nina constantly provokes her, accusing Millie of thefts that didn't happen and manipulating her. Millie begins to believe that Nina suffers from a severe mental illness or substance abuse. All the while, Andrew increases his attention to Millie, flattering her, flirting, and creating the illusion of mutual attraction. Millie, being lonely and vulnerable, begins to reciprocate his feelings, seeing in him a chance for true love and stability. She feels loved and desired, something she desperately needed after her release from prison. She feels she has finally found her place. Enzo, the quiet gardener, appears on the scene. He seems reserved and enigmatic, but tries several times to hint at the danger lurking in the house. However, Millie, blinded by her emotions and hopes, ignores his words, believing he doesn't understand the full complexity of the situation in the Winchester family. When Nina suddenly disappears, Andrew seizes the opportunity. He invites Millie out, spends time with her, and eventually, they spend the night together. Millie, enchanted by the illusion of the perfect man, believes his promises to divorce Nina and start a life together. She feels happy, having finally found her place in the world. Nina's return only strengthens this illusion when Andrew announces his decision to divorce, and Nina, at first glance, accepts it heartbrokenly and leaves the house. Millie feels victorious, realizing she has now taken the mistress's place in this luxurious home. Part 2. The World Through Nina's Eyes, The Shocking Revelation of Truth. Here occurs one of the most breathtaking and shocking plot twists in modern literature. The narrative abruptly shifts to Nina Winchester's perspective, and the reader is left in complete shock. Everything we thought we knew about Nina, Millie, and Andrew turns out to be an absolute lie, a meticulously constructed illusion. Nina is not crazy. On the contrary, she is a victim of horrific, prolonged, and sophisticated abuse by Andrew. He is the true monster, a sociopath and manipulator who has kept Nina in an emotional and physical prison for years. Nina recounts her story with Andrew. Andrew was the ideal husband only before their marriage. After that, he gradually but steadily began to destroy her life, controlling her every move and isolating her from friends and family. He subjected her to systematic gaslighting, making her doubt her own memory, perception, and sanity. He created situations to make Nina appear inadequate, then convinced her that she was indeed crazy. He physically abused her, locking her in the attic, the same room where Millie now lives, forcing her to perform humiliating tasks to break her will. The most horrifying revelation is that Andrew even tried to drown their daughter Cecilia, then convinced Nina that she had done it, using this incident as leverage for control and blackmail. For years, Nina searched for a way out. She realized that simply escaping was impossible, as Andrew threatened her life and Cecilia's, and he had compromising information to incriminate her. So she developed a complex, risky, and ingenious plan. Her goal was to find a replacement for Andrew, someone who could take his attention and perhaps even become a tool for his ultimate elimination. All of Nina's crazy actions that Millie witnessed were part of this plan, a masterful acting performance. Nina deliberately created messes and blamed Millie so that Andrew would feel like a hero protecting Millie and develop sympathy for her. Staged tantrums and arguments to make Millie believe in her madness and feel compassion for Andrew. Disappeared to give Andrew an opportunity to grow closer to Millie. Nina knew about Millie's criminal past. Her imprisonment was related to defending a friend from an aggressor, indicating her capacity for decisive action in critical situations. She calculated that Millie possessed the necessary fortitude and, possibly, a propensity for violence to confront Andrew when the time came. Enzo the gardener turns out to be her old and loyal ally, privy to the plan. His warnings to Millie were part of the strategy to sow doubt and prepare the ground for subsequent events. Nina's goal was for Andrew to reject her for Millie himself, thereby freeing Nina from his power without a direct confrontation that could cost her her life. Part 3. Realization, Climax, and Shared Survival. After Nina disappears, Millie, enjoying her perceived triumph, begins to live with Andrew. But her happiness quickly turns into a nightmare. Andrew, having found a new object for his manipulations, begins to show his true colors towards Millie. He becomes cruel, controlling, and abusive. He starts locking Millie in the attic, exactly as he had done with Nina before. Andrew's psychological torture slowly breaks Millie down, making her doubt her own sanity. Only now does Millie fully grasp the meaning of the scratches on the attic room door. These are the desperate marks of Nina's struggle for freedom. Millie realizes that she has fallen into the very same trap from which she thought she had liberated Nina. At this point, Nina appears returning to the house. She did not abandon Millie. Although Millie was part of her plan, Nina did not wish her a similar fate. She returns to help Millie and, most importantly, to finally put an end to Andrew's tyranny. The tension builds to an incredible climax. The two women, who were enemies and then became victims of the same man, now unite against him. They use their knowledge of his methods, his vulnerabilities, and their shared determination to survive. The final confrontation is intense, unpredictable, and violent. Andrew dies. The circumstances of his death are presented ambiguously, leaving room for interpretation. Was it an accident during a struggle, an act of self-defense, or a planned killing? What is important is that his death signifies ultimate liberation for both women. After his death, Nina and Millie must act quickly and cohesively to invent a plausible story for the police that would exonerate them. They skillfully manipulate the facts, using all their knowledge of Andrew's manipulative behavior to make their version seem flawless. Key themes and in-depth analysis. 1. Psychological abuse and gaslighting as central motifs. The book is an in-depth study of how an abuser can systematically destroy their victim's psyche. Andrew uses gaslighting as his primary tool, making Nina doubt her own memory, perception, and sanity. This theme becomes even more pertinent when Andrew begins to apply the same methods to Millie, demonstrating the cyclical and predictable nature of a manipulator's behavior. 2. Manipulation of perspective and unreliable narrator. Freida McFadden brilliantly employs the technique of the unreliable narrator and shifting point of view. The first part, narrated by Millie, creates a certain impression of the characters and situation, which is then completely shattered in the second part, where Nina reveals the true picture. This makes the reader feel the same disorientation and shock as the characters, enhancing the immersive effect of the plot. 3. Female solidarity and mutual support. The initial relationship between Nina and Millie is characterized by hostility and rivalry. However, when the truth is revealed, they unite in a common struggle against Andrew. This transformation is a powerful message about the strength of female solidarity and how women can support each other in the fight against violence and manipulation. 4. Survival and triumph over trauma. The book not only portrays the horrors of abuse but also the path to survival and recovery. Although both Millie and Nina experienced terrible traumas, they find the strength to break free from the trap and start new lives, albeit with the scars of the past. This highlights the resilience of the human spirit and the ability to overcome the most difficult challenges. 5. The theme of secrets and hidden truths. The entire plot is built on the gradual unveiling of secrets. Millie's past, Andrew's true nature, Nina's complex plan. Each layer of mystery is revealed step by step, maintaining constant tension. This demonstrates how much can be hidden behind a seemingly perfect facade. 6. Evil in everyday life. The novel convincingly shows that evil does not always manifest in the form of obvious monsters. It can hide behind a facade of charm, success, and normality, infiltrating the most intimate spheres of life. Andrew is a prime example of a narcissistic sociopath who appears flawless externally but is a destructive force internally. Conclusion: Freida McFadden's The Housemaid is not just a gripping plot, it's a psychological quest that reveals the dark sides of human nature and the complexity of abusive relationships. It leaves the reader with deep reflections on trust, the perception of reality, and the power of will. This book is a must-read for fans of psychological thrillers who appreciate unexpected plot twists and a deep dive into character psychology. It makes you ponder how much truth we might miss and how important it is to trust your intuition,